if you think about the idea of scaling things up or down, if you have ever worked with a 3D printer, you would probably make something like this, where the one scale is telling you this is the real thing, this is half of it. Everything is proportional. The mouthpiece, if that's what this is, this whole thing is twice as big as this because this is 1/2 of that. Minecraft, a little picture, people. If I was to create a Minecraft person, if you guys see those Minecraft dolls out in the stores, they try to make them proportional to what it looks like in the game. So proportionality has to do with scaling and enlarging things and reducing things. So when you enlarge something, you really want to make sure that you are enlarging it in the same direction or at the same rate in all directions. Otherwise, it's going to be distorted and it's not going to look proper. A scale drawing, as you guys mentioned, is a blueprint of a home, let's say. This is what we call a blueprint of a home. Now, when we look at this, you could see the different bedrooms, the kitchen, the dining room, and it's proportional to the actual house. So architects, engineers, computer programmers, if they're going to make a home on a computer like a SketchUp, Google SketchUp or something like that, they have to make sure everything is proportional. This that you see down here is what we call the scale factor. The scale factor tells you how the map or how the picture is related to the actual thing, how the drawing is related to the actual. So what this is telling you is that 1/4 of an inch, because that's what those little two quotes mean in math, inch, 1/4 of an inch on the drawing is the same thing as, this means foot, 1 foot in real life. So for every 1/4 of an inch that you have on your drawing, that's actually 1 foot in real life. So if we wanted to go back to our blueprint, let's just look at the living room. We see that let's go to the kitchen. The kitchen says that there's 6-inch walls. Okay, that's how thick it is. That doesn't make sense. Let's do...
I don't think any of them have the actual...
Here we go. They do. This one here. So this is 2 feet 6 inches. This is actually a model of a home. So they're telling me that they're building a model home. This isn't like the real home because a home is not just 2 feet long. A room is not just 2 feet long. So this is like if I was going to build a model of a home, like a toy house. So the toy house is 2 feet by 2 feet 6 inches long in the living room. And this window, oh no, these are the windows. Look at me not being able to read this. This is just the window. I apologize. Yeah, this is 2 feet 6 inches. Okay? So what they're doing here is, I got it now. So what they want us to do is to see how big the actual house is. So what we would do is we would actually take our ruler and we would measure the distance from here to here. And if I was to measure it with the ruler, so if I was to measure this here with inches, this measures 8 inches, right? The length of that is 8 inches. So if they were asking me, how much is it in real life? Then what you would do is you would say, well, if this distance from here to here is 8 inches on my drawing, I want to know how many feet is that in real life? Do you see how I got that written in red? If 8 inches in the drawing, I want to know in actual life, how much is that? So I use the scale drawing. The relationship is inches of the drawing. So then you can think of it in terms of your little bridge map. Drawing is related to the actual in the same way that the drawing is related to the actual.
32 feet.
So the 8 inches of the drawing is related to my unknown in the actual in the same way that a quarter of an inch, as it says on the scale, is related to 1 foot. Cross multiply, and you get a quarter of a foot. You would get 0.25 n is equal to 8. Now when you divide by a decimal, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as if you thought 8 divided by a fourth, keep change flip, multiply by the reciprocal, and you get 32. So the actual amount of the length of this living room is 32 feet. Okay, so a scale drawing is a two-dimensional object, a two-dimensional drawing. The scale is that little key that tells you how much of the drawing represents the actual amount. So let's take this example. This blueprint is a scale drawing of an apartment. The dimensions of the master bedroom are 12 feet by 20 feet. That's in real life. The actual building, or the actual apartment, is 12 by 20. When I look at this drawing, obviously what I'm going to do right now for the sake of you being able to see it clearly is I'm going to enlarge it. So, look it, I've enlarged it. But we're going to keep the dimensions as it is. If I know that my apartment is 12 by 20, is this 12 or is this 20?
That's 20.
From here to here.
That's 20.
20, because it's the longer one. So I know that if this was the real thing, this would be 20 feet. And this would be 12 feet. Now I know also, by looking at it, that the 12 feet in the real life is really 1 1/4 inches on the drawing. That's the relationship that I have. So, if the 12 feet, let's start with the drawing, actually, it makes it more sense. The drawing's measurement is related to the actual measurement in the same way that another drawing's measurement within this specific drawing would be related to its actual measurement. The drawing is related to the actual in the same way that the drawing is related to the actual. So if I wanted to give a scale, I would say the drawing measurement of 1.25 inches, does everyone see why I changed it to 1.25? 1 1/4? So the drawing's measurement of 1.25 is related to the actual measurement of 12 feet. Does everyone see that? Yes?
Yep.
As here, down here, they say complete the scale. How many is what they're asking. How many inches is really 4 feet in real life. So then I would say, how many inches is 4 feet? And now I have my analogy, my proportion. The drawing of 1 1/4 inches is related to the actual of 12 feet in the same way that the question asks, what's the scale? How many inches is 4 feet? So I would say, how many of the drawing is 4 feet of the actual? Drawing is to actual as drawing is to actual. And now I have a proportion, which is a math sentence. I can now cross multiply. 12 times my unknown is really just 12x, is equal to 4 times 1.25. And what do I do to solve for x?
1 times just 5/12.
Yep, divide. And I get, what's 5/12? That means 5/12 of an inch, or if you wanted to divide it out with your calculator, you would get 0.416 repeating, so it's about 0.42 inches. So that's basically the scale. 42 hundredths of an inch is the same thing as 4 feet.